Thank you for tuning in to another episode of.
Sticky Notes Podcast.
Okay, so we're going to take a break from all the negativity across the YouTube platforms, the indictments, the phone calls, the FBI informants, and we're going to talk about some, what would you call these? They're not really conspiracy. Well, I guess they are conspiracy theories. What the one gentleman call them? He called them something else.
Coincidence something?
Yeah. I can't remember what it was though. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about, do we really think that people went to the moon?
Yeah, do we think the Apollo 11 mission was real or was it staged?
Yeah, did somebody actually step on the moon, or was it just something that was, made? They made a big. It's like a big play or something. Like a little short film.
So back in July of 1969, the Apollo 11 mission, it launched from Cape Kennedy, and it was on its way to the moon. It consisted of 3 people. So there was Neil Armstrong, who was the commander and the first person to walk on the moon, Buzz Aldrin, who was the pilot and the second person to walk on the moon, and then Michael Collins, who was the command module pilot. He stayed in orbit around the moon, while Neil and Buzz were the 2 people who landed on the moon.
So that camera angle from when they see supposed Neil Armstrong stepping off of the ship, where did that camera angle come from?
Well, some people think that it's true that we were the first people on the moon. Other people think that it's not true, that it was a setup, that it was created like you film a movie, that whole thing was like a film to make people believe that we landed on the moon. And I will say, back in the 60s, there was a lot of tension going on with the United States and the Soviet Union, and it was like a competition to see who could be the first person on the moon. And so I can see why people think they might have faked it, just as a power play, look at us, we're the first people on the moon.
Okay, so let's watch this and see what we think about what we think. Let's see how real this is.
You want me to screen record it?
Yeah.
All right, you ready to watch this? We'll just kind of stop it as we go. All right, so this is the first camera angle of the moon. You can see that it's attached to the little rocket.
Yeah.
You can see the craters and whatnot. Looks believable, right?
Okay.
Contact light. Okay, engine stop. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot. Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder.
So you were talking about the light.
Yeah, what is that?
It could be the sun's reflection. It could be stage lights.
Yeah. Okay.
But what's interesting is, so they said Neil Armstrong was the very first man on the moon, but there's a camera already on the moon. How did that happen?
Is there a camera on the moon?
Yeah, look at it. Look at this
Yeah,
person
yeah,
is
yeah.
Neil.
Yeah.
Where'd that camera come from? It doesn't look like it's attached to the spaceship at all.
No, it's moving.
Right, so where did it come from? If Neil was the very first person on the moon, who put it there? Unless they put it there and then he went back into the rocket ship and then walked off so they could capture that. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
To make it look like, and they just edited it.
maybe.
Was this live back in 1969?
I would say it would have to be.
Yeah.
It was probably on. Yeah,
Let me
probably on the radio.
Let
And
me
they got
Google that.
I would think it was probably on the radio.
Was the moon landing broadcast live? Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was. It was broadcast live to the world on July 20th, 1969. So who put that camera there? If this is live and it's not edited, how'd that camera get there?
Is this actual footage right here that we're watching edited?
No,
It's edited. It looks like it.
but it
edited.
wouldn't even make sense if it was, because Neil was the very first person to put footsteps on the moon right here. It's being recorded. How is it being recorded?
All right, so let's keep watching and see.
At the foot of the ladder, the lamb footpads are only
See that camera? You can tell it's connected to the ship.
Yeah, they're going back and forth.
in the surface about 1 or 2 inches. I'm going to step off the lamb now. That's one small step for man.
Pause it. What is that?
That's his footprint.
Okay.
Giant leap for mankind. Tony, this is so great you can't believe it. Oh, I believe it, Charlie. It's ready, John. Look at it go, would you, Charlie? You got all your steering. It's great. Oh, this is going to be some kind of different ride.
Okay,
Like
what's
it-
that? A hill?
Well, I don't know. Like, it can be believable because, like I was telling you, that darkness, like, that's how it is in space. It's just complete black. Like, you know how here we see stars and stuff like that? You don't
Uh-huh.
see that in space.
So there's hills on the moon.
I guess so.
Hoppity hippity hopping over hill and dale. Da 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 da. Hippity hopping along.
Hippity hopping.
Here's another
Okay.
thing. So we're on our way to Houston. So now they're leaving. First of all,
So who's there recording it?
that's the thing. Did they leave the camera there the whole time?
How'd they get the footage back?
Exactly. And this little compartment thing they fit in here, I mean, it looks kind of small. Maybe it's bigger in person, but that didn't look like what they came in. Because another thing they came in had ladders and stuff.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't look like that at all.
That looks pretty high tech. That looks pretty futuristic.
And I guess that's when they landed
Okay.
back on Earth. So yeah, I never really gave it much thought before. Like, I've always heard people say it wasn't real, and I just was like, whatever. But now I don't know. There's some questionable things.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something seemed too staged about that.
Yeah,
And how come we haven't been back there?
that's another good question. Why haven't we, like, our technology from 1969 to 2025 now is so advanced, especially when it comes to, like, NASA, like all these new satellites and stuff they're creating that can go find all these new planets and take pictures and videos of all these other planets in our solar system and pictures of new galaxies and stuff. We can do all that. They can
Yeah.
put a rover on Mars, so we know what Mars looks like allegedly, but we haven't been back to the moon.
Yeah. How about what Maverick was talking about yesterday?
Yeah, well, that's what made me start thinking about this.
Yeah. How this could all be just a big, like,
Well, I think, again, like, back in the 60s, there was a lot of, like, tension. Like, you know, there was that tension of, like, a nuclear war starting and stuff like that. I think if it's fake, the government just wanted to have it be a power play. Like, look, we beat you. We're the first ones on the moon.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that they were talking about yesterday, it made sense. It's kind of creepy to think about.
Yeah, because let me see here.
He said the rainbow, when you look at a rainbow, it's just a reflection. The light is reflecting off a glass or something.
Oh, I believe the rainbow is created for different reasons. So the first person in space was this guy named Yuri Gagarin. He's a Soviet cosmonaut.
Mm-hmm.
So he orbited Earth on April 12th, 1961. So it seems like there was a lot of competition then about like which country can be the first.
Okay, so he was the first person in space.
Yes.
All right, so how come he didn't go to the moon?
Right. I think there's only been 12 people on the moon. Who has walked the moon? 12 astronauts. All men have been to the moon.
No women.
No.
How come no women have been to the moon yet?
I don't know.
Who was the last person who was on the moon?
The last person on the moon
Who was the last moonman?
Harrison Schmitt in 1972. We've never
Harrison
been back
Schmitt.
since.
Is he I'm guessing he's not an American. Is he an American? Harrison Schmitt, geologist. He is an American. Americano.
So it's pretty strange how we're so advanced technology wise, especially when it comes to like spacecraft and aerospace, yet we have not been back on the moon since the 70s. Why do you think that is?
I don't know, but
Do you think they found something they
didn't want to go back to see?
Yeah, it's kind of strange, huh?
How about all these planes dropping from the sky?
Yeah, that's another thing.
Maverick was talking about that too.
Mm-hmm.
The Chinese.
What about the Chinese?
Your people.
They've had planes fall out of the sky too.
Hacking the system. Yeah, they probably they gotta have a couple casualties so they can make it believable. You know what I mean?
I never heard about that one.
He was just talking about it yesterday.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, you never know. If that's the case, the United States would never admit that because then that makes us look weak.
He's saying there's a big shift right now.
Well, you can tell, like he said, since COVID, things have not been the same. Yeah. Everything's been off.
So what do you think? Moon landing. We went there? Did we go there? And how come they didn't bring nothing back? They didn't bring none of the moon back?
I think we've been to the moon at some point. I just don't know if the very first time was the actual first time.
Did they bring anything from the moon back?
They have. I've seen stuff online about things they brought back from the moon. I don't think they brought it back that first time.
I think, like Maverick was saying, and like Big Homie CC were saying, that moon is filled with gold.
You think so?
Yep. And other people have been mining it. Maybe that's what the craters are. They're out there mining the moon.
Maybe.
And they're saying, oh, it's so far away, but how come we can see the craters if it's that far away?
No, he was trying to say the moon is like created to like be in like a dome or something.
He said it was brought here.
No, I don't know.
The moon was brought here. It was made.
The moon was made by God.
I'm just saying what Maverick said.
I know.
So,
I mean, we all have our own different beliefs.
Yeah.
I guess.
And what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Did we step on the moon? I don't know.
We have at some point.
I think we've been there. I think that other countries have been there, and it's a battle.
I think that there may be something on the moon that they don't want to go back and see. Maybe I saw this one movie. I forget the name of it, but this guy.
A movie.
This guy went to the moon.
Was this based on true stories?
I thought it was at
Come on,
first.
we're trying to be factual here.
It was a movie. Let me look it up real quick.
Okay. So, conspiracy theory. Which movie is it?
Oh, was it Apollo 18? I think that's what I saw. Yeah, so it's basically like a found footage type of film. It's called Apollo 18. And basically these astronauts went to the moon. And you know how the moon is, it's got like the texture of the moon is like ashy, like dust almost. And there's like rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently there's like these creatures that live, like they look like rocks. But then when they come out, they're like these like creatures that would like, they killed them. Like they ate them and they killed these guys. And one of the guys actually...
What do you be watching?
Movie spoiler. One of the astronauts actually escaped and was able to come back to Earth. But one of these rock creatures got in the actual rocket ship and came back to Earth with him.
Oh.
So maybe if there's stuff on the moon like that, maybe that's why they don't want to go back.
Yeah, I believe there's.
Because I believe there's life on all planets, including the moon.
Well, we are going to believe whatever they want us to believe.
But we don't have to.
I know. So that's what this is all about. Tell us what you think. Is there other planets that have life?
Yeah, I think so. But it's not what we think life is. We think in order for there to be life, there needs to be water and nitrogen and this stuff. But all these other planets, their atmospheres are made with different gases and whatnot, which is why we can't go to these planets. But I think the life that's on these other planets are created to withstand that environment. So that's why we don't know, because we can't go there to see it, and we're not supposed to.
Oh, okay. So different like humanoids. Maybe they are humanoids.
Yeah. Like they can't come to our planet because they can't withstand our atmosphere.
So, and what about how they were talking about the spaceships coming from out of the ocean?
I personally believe there's no such thing as UFOs. I think they are created by our government to try to make us think that UFOs exist. That's what Area 51 is.
There's definitely UFOs.
Created by the government.
Yeah, maybe.
To try to scare us.
Like the movie Signs.
Yes.
That movie was pretty creepy.
Aliens may be real, but I think they're maybe created by our government.
There's so many different kinds of movies that have like so specific characteristics of aliens and other beings that one of them has to be right.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be some kind of proof of that.
Drones are kind of like UFOs, if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean,
China, they have drones now that look just like birds.
really?
They look identical to a bird, but it's actually a drone.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah. And as someone that used to live in China, they don't have birds. Like, that was one thing I never saw there.
All right, so since you used to live over there, tell your peoples, stop messing with us over here. Tell your people to stay over there. They got a whole country.
Blame the president.
They got a whole country over there. Stay over there. Everybody want to take over different countries. Come on. This is America.
I don't even care anymore. Take over it at this point.
So, yeah. Tell us what you think. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of
Sticky Notes Podcast.
Had to tuck the shorty cause it stick out. Alleyway stories, I was walking with that thing out. Any given Sunday, ain't no telling what I bring out. Couple little shooters had to tell them run the dig route. Mr. Make it happen, get it crackin', and I skip town. Find out where you at, I'm like, what happened to that big mouth?